Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20, and welcome to episode 6 of Direwolf20's FortressCraft Evolved Let's Play series. I've just been processing all kinds of ore. So one of the things I wanted to test, and I did this between last episode and this one, is I wanted to simulate putting iron and lithium into this automation system. And to do that, I set up some storage hoppers and I threw some lithium and iron ore in there. And you can see on my hotbar here, I have some lithium and iron ore. So that's iron over there, and this one was lithium, so I'll throw the lithium in there, and now we're in good shape. So let's see what happens and how things progress. We should see iron ore making its way in here. But what are you doing being stuck, iron ore? You were working a second ago. Let me just reseat this thing. There we go. Now we're talking. Nice. So watch what happens, right? So we've got copper and tin here, and that was lithium, iron. Let's see. Iron might be getting backlogged here. It wasn't a minute ago, but maybe all of a sudden it is. Weird. Interesting. Oh, you know what? It might just be because this line is totally backlogged. I thought we'd be all right. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going in. Gotcha. So I might need to tweak where I place these in the conveyor lines here. If I moved this down one, I think we'd probably be in better shape. So let's try that out. So if we were to, for example, I didn't want this too close to here, but let's see what happens. We'll put this guy here and this guy here. You there and you there. And then we'll put in our lithium and iron. So you can see lithium and iron are each getting a turn here. See how it's going? So tin, copper, lithium, iron, right? Cool. So everybody's getting a turn. That's what I wanted to see. Nice. Hey, get out of my base, you little slimy dude. Thank you. So the backlogging here that we've got, though, is sort of a problem. Our issue is the smelter. So we are probably going to very soon want to handle that. Let's see, this was remove only. That's what we want. This guy was getting a little bit backstuffed. He's our slowpoke right now, but he should be processing all types of ore as well. So if we check, we've got 115, 80, 159, 260. 121, 81, 170, 271. So yeah, we've gotten all ore types here, so that's good. So it is taking turns. It's sending one of each ore type every time it processes. So every time it sucks in and uses up 4 ore to do its crafting or processing, it sucks 4 more into the system, and each of the 4 ore types take turns. But we don't want to have one smelter forever. We want to eventually get to the point where we can find more. Now, in order to do that, I'm probably going to want to jump downstairs. So there's 2 things we'll want to do. We'll actually properly want to automate the pulling up of ores, but we'll also eventually want to get to the point where we've got, you know, more orts and all this other stuff, and the more smelting going on. Because right now, smelting is our sticking point, and we can't really craft. We can, but we also can't craft a new smeltery. So basically, one of the things we can craft, and I don't know if it's available on my crafting window here. I don't think so. No. But one of the things we can craft is a basic smelter. Now that does have a downside, and I'll show you what it is when we go back up. But for now, I wanted to take a quick look around these caves and see what I can't find. One of the things that I haven't shown you yet is how to throw glow sticks, and it's very simple. You press G. You don't have to craft them. It's basically pure energy use, so it generates like a glow stick and is purely using energy for it. And it's just a nice temporary light. It'll go away after a few seconds here. So you can see that glow stick just hanging out here. It's a nice way to get around and just do some temporary lighting. And of course, you've got your headlamp on your suit as well. So this looks like a new type of ore that we haven't scanned yet. So that has to go back to the research. Okay. What else do we have down here? Oh, I'm getting cold. And my battery usage is quite high, as a matter of fact. Oh, I think I know where I'm at. I'm in a bad place. Let's just do a quick ping for unknown ores. So there's that, and then there's scanning unknown block. Okay. But yeah, we are getting cold. Let's get out of here. Whoosh. Yeah, that's a bad place to be, I think. Well, for now at least. We'll want to get down there eventually, but for now, bad place. So let's go upstairs and see what we discovered. I have a pretty good idea of what that is. I want to say we just discovered our first cold cavern, which is the next layer of this planet. There's actually several layers that we'll get to, and the cold cavern represents some unique challenges because it's really cold. As you can see, my suit was having trouble keeping me warm, even though it was, you know, fully charged, right? So let's see, we'll scan this. We found a crystal deposit. We also found a new type of flora, and dun dun dun, we found the chilled cavern stone. Yikes. So we're gonna have to process that stuff. Any new researches that we get available as a result of that? Nothing here. But we can do cold research, which requires a laboratory. Seems to be filled with methane gas. We're going to research special forms of heating in order to progress deeper. All right, good to know. And we're also gonna wanna look towards the laboratory here. So let's see. Let's first focus on getting research going, because that takes a long time, right? So I'm going to focus on intermediate minor upgrades. So that's going to require 15 simplified experimental pods and 5 basic experimental pods. So now we have a new type of experimental pod that we're going to have to figure out. I know because I've played before what this is all about, but for now we're going to want to, you know, do stuff. So let's turn off our headlamp here, because that's draining power like crazy. Arthur, charge up for me. And let's get started making something out of these guys. Let's come back in a second. I want to craft a few things, and then we'll be ready to start working on the types of experimental pods that we're going to need to make here. So in order to make the experimental pods, other than the basic ones that we've seen here, we're going to need a special block. And it's available in the recipe system here called Research Assembler. It's something that we got previously as a result of some projects. Ooh, we've got teleporter unlocked. Nice. Those require so much power though, so as much as teleporters are cool, I don't think I'm ready to make one, so we're gonna hold off. But Research Assembler is a block that we're gonna need to make. It's literally a need. And we're also going to need some other types of things. So we've seen the stamper plant, but we haven't seen the extrusion plant yet. So let's get the stamper plant. I'm gonna get just a few more of these guys. Let's see. Let's put one here and one here, and then we'll put our storage hoppers like so. Let's put, I'm going to need a bunch of tin and copper. So let's get 40 of you and 40 of you going. And in the meantime, we'll look at some of the other stuff that we're going to need to make. So the extrusion plant we need. The coiler plant we've got one of. We're probably going to want some more. The PCB assembling plant, we're going to need copper plates and copper coils. Luckily, that's not terribly hard. And then the pipe extrusion plant, I don't know that I've ever needed one of these. But then the other thing we're going to need is not listed on that screen, so it must be on the screen, Research Assembler. So we're going to need copper housings. Okay. I believe that's one of the ones we haven't researched yet. There we go. Copper housing requires copper plates. Okay. So that's why I started the plate and tin stuff. Copper housing, check. And then we're going to need the research assembler. Check. I usually like to have 2 sets of these, so we'll probably do that. But before we can do that, we're going to need more copper coils. So let's probably look at getting the stamper plant and the coiling plant here. Let's put it on tab 5, I think would be a good place for these guys. So no longer here. And while I'm here, I'm also going to make a couple more storage hoppers. Uses a lot of iron, but I'm doing pretty good now in terms of resources, at least the ones that we're using at this point. So let's do our storage hopper. We're going to want the coiler plant and another storage hopper. And let's make just a handful of the copper wires that we're going to want. So a dozen? Yeah, it sounds cool. Throw them in there, and that's good. So we can make copper wires, but we can't make other types of wire. So in order to do that, and the same goes for PCBs, we can make copper-based PCBs, but we can't make the other forms of PCBs. So the advanced ones have to be made in a PCB assembling plant. Luckily, this stuff isn't too hard to put together, but I want to make sure you guys see it all. So the extrusion plant is going to get other types of wires. So it converts metal bars into wires. Craft. And the coiler plant we've seen already. That's one that coils them into wire types. And then the PCB assembling plant is what makes the PCBs of other types. So basically what it comes down to is every type of ore and every type of metal in the game has a corresponding plate, wire, coil, and PCB. And they're all used for different types of research as we go through the game. So let's take a look here. We're gonna go in here and we're gonna check out. So we've got the stampler. Let's get the extrusion plant here, PCB assembling plant, and research assembler. That should all be cool. Just like to keep my hotbars clean, because even though you've got 7 hotbars, you quickly run into a lot of different items all over the place. So let's make what we're going to need in order to get the simplified PCBs. So if we take a look at the research that's required for the intermediate minor upgrades, we need 15 simplified experimental pods. So there's a couple different ways you can check out what the researches are. Check your contextual help on the research assembler. This is the best way to go about it, and you can see how to make all the different types of pods. So a basic experimental pod is made of copper. Basic PCB, copper plate. Simplified is made with tin, and they always match up. So tin plate, primary PCBs are made with tin, and those are made with tin coil, right? And tin coil is made with tin wire in a coiler plant, and tin wire is made in an extrusion plant with tin bars. So they pretty much always match up, and that's going to make things very easy for you guys to keep in mind, right? So iron, iron PCB. Lithium, lithium PCB. And then we've got some other unknown materials that we haven't figured out yet because we haven't gotten around to that point. So then let's start an extrusion plant process. So I want to make the simplified PCBs. So let's snag all this good stuff here. I figured you guys would be done processing, but you're not. So let's make one PCB line, and I'm trying to figure out where I want to do this. For now, I'm going to put it here, but I might eventually want to move it like maybe on the other side of this research system here, or maybe I want to do this now. Let me clear out some terrain here, and we'll come right back. All right, guys, so here's the deal. We're going to need 2 sets of lines because as we already discovered in the research section of our research assembler, in order to make anything, we need 6 plates of the material and 1 PCB for the material. So in total, we need 7 items. 6 plates, 1 PCB, right? So we're doing simplified right now. Coppers we can do manually, but we'll probably get to the point where we automate it with these machines anyway. So let's first talk about, and I'm going to put, I wouldn't mind having storage hoppers in this channel, but that's okay. Let's do the stampers first, because that's the easiest. We've already seen how to do stampers, right? It's simply stamper plant, and then we'll have the 2 types of storage hoppers. So we can really kind of do whichever we want. I'm going to use for now these guys, but we'll probably do this in a more efficient manner once we get a few more resources and maybe get to the point where we're automating many of these at once. So that's real simple, right? So for, let's say I want to make 10 of these, right? So we're going to need in total 70 bars of that type in order to make 10 researches, right? And to confirm that, we can look at our help guide and we'll see that we need 6 bars plus 1 bar is 7 in total per research point. And because you can add 10 items at a time, my system that I always use is make about 10 of these pods at a time. So to make 10 of them, we need 7 and 70. Cool. So that's this guy. And what we're going to do is we're going to set him, that's all good. And then we're going to want, I usually have the research assembler in the middle. And then here is where I'm going to have the other storage hopper. And this guy is going to be a line. That is basically, we need to do coiler plant, then, no, extrusion plant, then coiler plant, right? So extrusion plant makes wires. Okay, so it needs to be extrusion plant, followed by coiler plant, followed by PCB assembling plant. Okay, so then we can have our storage hopper here. Cool. So what this is going to do, so we need, as we already shown, just to confirm for you guys in case anybody's having trouble following along, 10 primary PCBs and 60 tin plates. So we're going to go to our tin bars here, and we're going to put 10 in here. And that's going to extrude it into a wire. Cool. And then coil it in the coiling plant. And then that coil is going to be converted into a PCB. And then the PCB is going to be stored in the hopper. So now we have one primary PCB. Nice. And that'll happen 10 times because I put 10 items in the hopper, right? So we've got our primary PCBs. Now for the plates, right? So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 60 of these guys. And we're going to come back in a minute once our stamper plant handles everything, because there's one more thing that I haven't talked about, and that's the research pod assembler needs power. So obviously there's many ways to handle the power requirements of this research pod assembler, but what I'm going to do for now, I think, is probably just place a laser pointing at, 4 power storages, so that A, we can, keep power stored when this thing's not running, but B, it'll also be a nice simple way. It's basically for more storage power, right? So this will get pumped in here, it'll distribute its power to its adjacent blocks, and eventually it'll make its way down to the pod assembler, which as you can see is now receiving power. It's telling you that it combines 6 plates with 1 PCB. And if we take a look, it probably just snagged 6 plates, and you can see its crafting process is now running, and it's gonna take a few seconds here. Now I think the 14 seconds there is under the assumption that it has full power, and at this point it probably doesn't. To be totally honest with you, it looks like the power is not spreading as nicely as I would have liked it to. So I might want to, let's turn you off for a sec. Just trying to find the best way to handle this power demand here that we're going to have. So another thing I could do, let's do this, because I'm going to want this machine to run a little bit faster. Oh boy, I'm running low on tin again. Come on, tin, I need more. More tin. What I could do is throw another, I've got this guy, 2 free coal slots. I'm probably going to want to upgrade these to the 100 stacks, but for now I'm going to put another set of 4 here. And let's break all you guys. That might not be a terrible idea. And then in the center, we'll put our mini hopper with coal. So that should distribute to the 4 adjacent ones. And this will just be more power for our research system. So it'll just make things a little bit quicker. And then, that'll be cool. So once all 4 clear out of there, like I said, I'll probably upgrade this to store 100, and then at some point I'll be running coal over to here. We're probably going to have a coal distribution system with conveyors at some point. But for now, we're pretty good. So I could laser beam this guy. If I wanted to be super fast about it, I could. Let's make a couple more transmitters. Is that cool? That should be good, right? So that guy will produce his research pods, and we'll probably want to set, the way I'm going to set this guy is going to be set to remove only, as is this one. Now, remove only and add only doesn't apply to conveyors. It only applies to machines. So this guy's producing research pods, and he's looking for a spot to drop it, right? But we can still have bars going from our stamper plants and our PCB assemblers because they're really like conveyor machines. So you can see even though this is set to remove only, he's still accepting items. Nice, right? Now, in terms of storage, I've kind of put myself into a corner here. Let's do this. Let's... Probably wouldn't mind. You know what I'm gonna... I'm gonna rearrange things a little bit. Let's wait for this to finish processing, and then I want to rearrange our stuff. Alright guys, we're back, and I'm going to place a storage hopper. This guy can probably just be a logistics hopper, because he doesn't need to store a whole lot. And I'm going to set him to add only. So I've just rearranged this a little bit, so that we've got power coming in on these sides, right? We've got the PCBs, which are probably along here somewhere. Let's snag them. So I want to put them back in here. So I got 2 of these simplified already crafted as a result. So we'll put the 8 primary PCBs back in here as a storage. And then these guys will probably want, let's do 2 more primary PCBs, and then I can put 60 in here, right? So if we did 2 more primary PCBs, which the best way to do that for now would be just to do that. Cool. So now we should be getting it, right? So what happens is the primary PCBs go in here, the tin plates go in here, that's the stamper plant. So pretty much the same system I had, just rearranged a little bit. And then this guy's getting power, and he's processing and creating the tin-based research component stuff. Cool. So this guy's empty, so we can switch him back now to a storage hopper, and that should be good. And we'll automate this probably a little bit better even. Now what we're going to want to do is have some conveyor belts. So let's do these guys. And I'm probably going to want to just have a storage of 10, so mini hopper storage. And then we'll do, I don't know why you're here, but that's okay. Cool. Nice. And then we'll put these in manually. Now, if we open this up, we can tell it to do intermediate minor upgrades, which is simplified and basic. Cool. We'll start this project, and he should start sucking in a simplified experimental pod. And because we've now got 8 generators and plenty of power storage, believe it or not, this thing won't last too long. I mean, these guys really only hold store like about 200 power, so they're going to quickly get drained. But that's okay. I might at some point also have a separate power system for the research pod assemblers, because we're going to want a couple lines of these going, but we'll kind of deal with that as time goes by. For now, I'm thinking we'll come back in a minute or two. I want to let this stuff operate and run, and go check on my mining operations, because I'm guessing these guys are empty now. Yep, totally empty. Let's, there we go. We'll do the iron and lithium. That'll get those guys going again. Alright guys, bad news. Looks like I ran out of coal. Just finished mining. Like, I literally came over here and I was like, I wonder how much coal is left. I scanned it. There was 1 coal piece left, and then it was immediately mined, and see you later. So let's do a ping for coal. I know there's one directly below us. That's actually a decent node. Right down here-ish. This guy is 100 and something thousand coal, I think. Yeah, 107. Not bad, but I just want to ping and see if I can't find a slightly better one or a slightly more... I mean, it's not a bad location either. It's actually a pretty darn convenient location, so I'm struggling to imagine a better coal vein, but can't hurt to do a quick scan. So, like, that's a big node right down there. It looks like there might even be another one below it. Coal's not uncommon at all. So there might even be another node directly below it, which actually would be convenient. And we already have power down here, so let's do this. Let's pretend like we're going to mine it right here. That's not a bad place for the coal to come out. Yeah, and then we could just send it right this way. That could do. I could manage that. So let's do this. I'm going to steal this coal vein. He thinks he's still mining, but there's nothing to mine, so that's okay. That's another way to get out of an area. Cool. Let's get the coal vein mining operation going. So we'll probably want... What I'm thinking is we stick the miner right here. There we go. A little bit of light for us. Cool. We would normally place a, let's see, conveyor system. Let's do that. So if I wanted the conveyors to go up here, that would be fine, right? And then they could just start heading off in that direction. So if we were to put a hopper here, we could have conveyor lines going up this way. So let's use this opportunity to show off the auto conveyor placer thingy. So this I'll put right here. So this thing's actually pretty easy to use, right? We place him down, and we face him in the direction where we want him to build stuff. And then, let's see, how many of these are we going to want? Probably want a few more conveyor belts, so let's go make a few more. Luckily I can do that from a little bit of a distance. 30 should be plenty for now, because he really doesn't have that far to go. This is just more for demonstration of how this component works. So let's put down our storage hopper here. Set you to remove only so the coal doesn't start going in there. Not that it would hurt, but... And then I'm going to put 10 of these in, and you'll see that he'll start building for you. Now that does drain actually a pretty decent amount of power, so he's not super fast about placing down his conveyors, but he does a pretty good job. So hopefully... Let's put another 10 in there. There we go. That's pretty darn close. So of course we have a lot of things on that power line right now, so it slowed down. Remember, we have like 2 miners at this point going off of just that feed and the auto builder, so a little bit of work being done, but that's okay, that's enough. So auto builder, your work is done here. I will place, well, we can throw a storage hopper here. So he should start getting, we'll put him on, it really doesn't matter, add remove is fine. He should start getting the coal here. And then we put the conveyor line facing upwards. And then the coal should start working its way up. There we go. Coal's heading up. Let's get this set up with our system here. So we'll want this to go this way. We'll do just some more basic conveyors. And what I'll do is, let's make a conveyor turntable here. Tin and copper times 5, not terrible. This thing basically lets you route ores in multiple directions, or any items for that matter. So if I put the conveyor turntable here, you'll see that it goes this way, and then we can feed this directly into a logistics hopper. That should be good, right? There we go. So the ores should be making their way up, and then you get to see what the conveyor turntable does, which is pretty cool. And we might want to eventually just feed copper off in this direction, or coal, I'm sorry, in this direction, and who knows, other stuff too. This guy, actually almost full of processed ores. Love seeing that. Automation is king in this game. I don't know if you guys have figured that out yet. Cool. So the coal will make its way up, and then we'll have like a coal conveyor system going. I might move this and do the same thing I did over here. I kind of like the conveyors being 1 block below everything else. That's kind of cool looking, and I almost wish that I had done it now. Gotta love that build mode, right? So you can see the conveyor turntable doing its work. I think it splits evenly, by the way. So, you know, given that there's not a backlog of stuff, it will always split evenly. When there is a backlog, I think it'll keep going down whatever path is available, I think. Not 100% certain on that. So if there was another line going this way, it would, you know, obviously go that way. And if you want it to split 4 ways, you can feed it from the bottom or top. And then I think, at least definitely from the bottom and maybe also from the top. And then it would split 4 ways. Cool? All right, so let's come back in a moment here. Let's see, we might actually get to see if this sticks or not. I'm just gonna take the coal out of here so that we don't have a backlog. And this guy looks like he's stuck going that way, so he's gonna just send that way again. So he'll keep going, even though this way's stuck, he'll eventually, you know, send it down that path. So he tries to do it evenly, but if one path is stuck, he'll eventually send it down the other. Nice, right? Cool. All right, back in a moment. Once, let's see, how's this thing doing? He's working on experimental pods. All right, guys, we're back, and I'm tweaking the way the power system works over here. I decided I want 2 generators dedicated to powering this research pod assembler. I'll probably have more research pod assemblers later, and what I found was as these things were running, they were just sucking as much power as they possibly could into the system and into this laboratory here. It just sucked up all the power, and the research pod assembler wasn't running until the current research operation finished and the buffer power completed refilling, and then it was able to start running again. So it was kind of like a big power suck on the system. So I decided to do this, which should help things out a little bit. So if we put some blocks here, I think that we're going to want something like this. So let's see if I got this right. This guy leading into here, leading into this guy, leading into that guy. Nice. And then these 2 generators should start running pretty quickly. Nice, generating power for us. So that guy's on. He's filling up the buffer on this transmitter. This guy is now on. He's filling up the buffer on this transmitter, filling up this transmitter's buffer. Awesome. So what I'm going to do is this thing needs 5 basic experimental pods and 3 more simple. So let's get copper going. So we're going to want, I'm going to make 10 of them at a time, remember. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4. No, wait. Let's hold up. This one needs to be the 6. So we're going to make just 10 of these all at once, right? So those guys, and then this one will let go 10. So we'll have an extra copper PCB here, which I'll just steal. Cool. So that should operate and do its thing. So we'll get 6 copper plates, we'll get 60 in total, and then we'll get 10 of the basic PCBs here, which you can see the conveyor line's running, and then this thing will start processing as soon as it gets its 6th copper plate. So that should be pretty good. And then I think it's about wrapping up point for the episode. So I hope you guys enjoyed the automation of the research system. There's going to be more involved here pretty soon. There we go. So you can see power's going, and it's going to start. Yeah, see, very quickly drains the supplied power. Even though we've got 2 generators dedicated to this thing, it's a little power hungry, but that's okay. It'll run, not a problem. And we're going to have better power generation eventually in the future anyway. But for now, Direwolf20 signing off. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. New coal source, which will be very useful for us, and we'll start piping it around the base. I do need to still, eventually, let's see, put lithium here and iron here. It really actually doesn't matter which one goes where, just as long as, you know, you get stuff processed. Eventually do want to get lithium and iron pumping up here, but I'm thinking I'll wait until I've got the ability to make more ore smelters to do that, because clearly we've got lots and lots of ore coming in as it is, and we're not quite able to keep up with the demands of 4 ore types for 1 smelter. So yeah, wrapping up point. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Take it easy.